Imagine with me, you're in a completely white room. No windows, no doors, no sounds, just you and a single mirror. You step closer and look, but the strange thing is, you don't see your face as you know it. Each time, a different reflection appears. One moment you see yourself as you wish to be, another as others see you, and sometimes don't even recognize who's staring back. It's as if the mirror doesn't reflect your features, but the opinions of others about you. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoes in your mind, your high school philosophy teacher. This is the lesson of self and other. You rascal, that lesson you probably didn't fully grasp back then, but memorized just to pass. The self is only complete through the other. The other is my mirror. I think, therefore I am. All beautiful ideas. But the real question is, who am I, truly? Am I who I imagine myself to be? Or who others think I am? Welcome to a new episode, my friend, where we don't hand out ready-made answers, but stir up questions and try to ask the right ones. Who am I if I'm alone? Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. But what if you're thinking in a sealed room? No windows, no doors. You think in a voice no one hears, with a face no mirror reflects. Are you truly there? Maybe Descartes wasn't wrong, but he probably didn't finish the sentence. Self-awareness isn't just a mental exercise. It's a reflection, incomplete without the other. You don't grasp yourself in isolation, but through others, like you don't see your face unless you look in a mirror. Hegel took this further than Descartes ever imagined, saying the self is only known and recognized through the other. The relationship between the I and the other is dialectical, most vividly seen in Hegel's master-slave dialectic, where neither exists fully without the other's acknowledgement. The master only becomes a master if the slave agrees. But here's the twist. Even the master, in the end, needs someone to recognize their mastery. It's as if the self, no matter how grand, can't stand alone. Needs someone to applaud, even in a haughty silence. This opens endless doors to questions. Who am I if no one tells me who I am? Do I define myself? Or am I in the end shaped by their gazes, judgment, and reflections? Perhaps the self isn't a closed entity, but an open project, built through dialogue, shaped by friction, formed by every connection. Can the self exist without the other? Or is it solitude, not just physical isolation, but the gradual fading of identity? In that case, we're not just alone, but lost in oblivion. The other, is it hell? Sartre said, hell is other people, not meaning others are pure evil, but that their presence imposes an invisible chain. We're never fully ourselves when we're watched, even by a silent class. Think about how you write when you're alone. Words flow honestly, handwriting loose, confessions bold. But the moment the door opens, everything changes. Your handwriting straightens, sentences shorten, and the self becomes cautious, as if it's thrown in a heavy coat to hide its freedom. The other doesn't always say anything, but changes everything. Their mere presence makes us rethink every action, every word, the way we sit, even our facial expressions. It's a presence that hangs a mirror before us, not to show us truthfully, but as we should be seen. We all want to seem perfect, strong, composed, but only alone do we dare to be real. So, the hell of the other isn't their harm, but the self we hide from them. The age of screens. In the age of screens, we no longer live with others, we live for them. Every photo we take isn't a reflection of who we are, but of who we want to appear to be. On Instagram, we don't show ourselves, we perform them. We adjust the lighting, pick the angle, snap the shot, then try again 2 or 3 times. Then, we run it through a soft filter to hide our exhaustion, maybe even our truth. Well, this isn't just poetic metaphor example, it's a documented digital reality. According to a study called Show Me What You Post, I'll Tell You Who You Are, conducted by researchers from Beira Interior University in Portugal and La Salle College of the Arts in Singapore, 72% of girls and 47% of boys in Generation Z edit their photos before posting. They prefer to be enhanced versions of themselves, just to look better in the eyes of others. So, are we what we appear to be, or what gets the most likes? The problem isn't the photo, but what we're chasing behind it. We no longer ask, who am I, but how many likes did I get? It's as if the self has become a theatrical performance, its value measured only by the sound of applause. Over time, as we stare into the mirror of social media, we get dizzy. The mirror doesn't reflect us as we are, but as others expect us to be. And so we get lost in the crowd of images and forget where we hid our true face. We search for ourselves in Instagram's mirrors. We capture others and lose ourselves. A simple but revealing question: if you deleted your Instagram account, would your identity vanish? Between coexistence and conflict. To philosophers, the other often seemed like a lurking adversary, or at least a constant threat. The relationship with them begins in most theories like a brawl in a narrow alley, a glance, tension, suspicion, as if the other's existence diminishes mine, crowding me out of air, attention, and meaning. Thus, philosophy books brim with images of conflict, from Hobbes to Hegel, Nietzsche to Sartre, all warned of the other as an opponent hiding behind a mask. But some philosophical voices whisper gently amid the noise. The French philosopher Emmanuel Levinas, for instance, didn't see the other's face as a threat, but as an ethical call. To him, the other's face isn't a mirror of myself, but an invitation to transcend it. The other doesn't compete with me, they summon me. I don't choose them, I'm called to them without warning. A look into their eyes is enough to feel my responsibility towards them. Before I ask any questions or sign any contracts, the relationship with the other isn't just a clash of wills, but a space of sharing. The self doesn't pass through life as a lone traveler. We're built by relationship, not isolated desires. Like a bridge, untested by one person's weight, but proven when we cross it together. The other is my mirror, but not all mirrors are true. We discover ourselves through the other, or so we like to think, as if the other is the mirror through which we glimpse our depths, finding comfort in our reflection. But what a mirror is what? What if each other reflects a different image of us? A picture that shifts with their angle, mood, or personal history. Aren't we then doomed to wander in a maze of reflections? Which image do we trust and which do we ignore? Then comes the noise of the crowd, making matters worse. In the age of social media, our mirrors don't offer truth. They chase the public's mood. Likes, shares, comments, these are currencies that don't measure value, but the moment. Did you make them laugh? Move them? Fine, you'll get a like. Were you profound? Sure, but don't expect applause. Yet, we can't smash every mirror. There's no escaping the other or their gaze. But we can sit, distinguish between honest and distorted mirrors, between those who see us as an extension of their truth and those who see only a fleeting image for amusement. We must choose when to listen and when to close our eyes and move on. You are not what others see, but you're also not nothing without being seen. Self, other, and the chalk that never breaks. Imagine, after all this discussion, we're suddenly back in that old classroom. The philosophy teacher, with his famous chalk, draws a big circle on the board and says, "This is the self, and here's the other, and between them, there is life." And then he gives us that victorious look, while half the class pretends to understand, and the other half wonders, is this on the test? But maybe he was right, even with a touch of mystery. Life does happen in between how we see ourselves and how others see us, between the truth we write alone and the performance we give when someone enters the room. The other isn't an enemy, but they're no angel either. They're the mirror we need. as long as we know when to look and when to close our eyes and keep walking. As a wise soul once said, you are not the mirror of others, but you're also not a ghost living alone. And in the end, my fellow Maverick, don't forget to turn off the camera sometimes. Sit with yourself, no filter, no audience.